We are a faith-based organization. From the very beginning, when we met with the state, I asked them, because people say, well, can you be a Christian organization and work with the state? And the answer is absolutely, that's who we are. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show, our very special guests are Billy and Rachel Hubbard. Let's give Billy and Rachel a big hand one more time. And my dear friend, Bear. He, from Arkansas, that's why he's barefooted. So today, our special guest on this show today on Destined to Win TV and Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, a combined show, is Billy and Rachel Hubbard. Billy and Rachel have been with us now about 18 years. But in our first segment, as you guys have been on show before, you know we always want our audience to get to know you. Even at family church, there are probably things about you that people don't know. So we always want to take a minute to get a chance to get to know our guest, because people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So Billy, tell me a little bit about you. How were you raised? Tell me a little about your dad and where he was raised.
Yeah, my dad was a foster child. He grew up at Boys Town in Memphis, Tennessee. The old Boys Town movie with the foster kid in Nebraska. They had a branch in Memphis, Tennessee.
That was with Mickey Rooney?
It was.
Is that right?
Yeah, great classic movie.
I remember as a little guy watching that show, crying like everybody else did. Yeah.
But he was, his dad died when he was 8 years old, and his mom had schizophrenia, wasn't able to take care of them through neglect. So he was on the streets for a couple of years in Memphis, from 6 to 8 years old, knife wounds on him and all, and he was taken into custody and was raised from the age of 8 to 18 in Boys Town in Memphis.
In Memphis, Tennessee.
And all of his siblings were separated.
Yeah.
Girl went to Tennessee, another child was in a different situation. So us keeping siblings together as we do now is so important to me.
Where were you raised?
I was raised in Bismarck.
In Bismarck?
Yeah,
out
big Bismarck.
Highway 7 on
Highway
the way
7.
to
lived on Highway
Arkansas?
84.
Yeah. Did you go to school there?
Most days.
Yeah.
Most days, yeah. Yeah.
And did you graduate?
I did barely, but I did.
Barely did. And then when you went into your professional career, what were you?
Well, I was a commercial real estate agent, and our family had a company downtown North Little Rock, between Dickey Stevens Park and Alltel Arena. Used to be Alltel, now it's Verizon or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
But we had that property there, so I was doing management and commercial real estate stuff there before I met my lovely wife.
You met your lovely wife?
Yes.
How long y'all been married?
We've been married 18 and a half years. Yeah, July will be 19.
Tell us then, before we get to Rachel, tell us a little bit about how did you come to know the ministry of Second Chance Youth Ranch?
We lived in Little Rock, and we were looking for a church, and Rachel keeps talking about how family church, she was here when she was 12, and this was, you were 21, so like 9 years later, how so much it was impactful for her. Usually people from Little Rock don't drive to Bryant, but Bryant drives to Little Rock. It's kind of an odd country thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, we'll drive to Bryant and check it out. And I remember we came in, sat in the back row, and I heard you preach, and I was like, this is our church.
You mean you heard me preach and stayed
and
anyway?
I came back, yeah. I loved it. We went to several churches, and I just didn't feel led to go there. And then I was really reluctant to come here, thinking, well, she probably has ex-boyfriends there, and let's start our own new life. You know,
she was 12, Billy.
I know, but 12-year-olds. But so we came, and I loved it. I was like, this is our church, and we have come ever since.
From the very first time you came?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is it about family church, since this is also Destined to Win TV, what is it about family church that really caused it to stick in you?
I'm a country boy from Bismarck.
I'm a country boy from Jonesboro.
And I've always said that you preach the word like Jesus does. Things that are so complicated, you say it so simply, and I could understand it instead of the church it needs. You made it simple, and I'm a simple guy. Jesus is simple, even though it's so complex, and you kind of relate. I saw Jesus in you and how you articulate the word, so we have stayed.
Well, and I say many times the reason I say it simply is because God has to show it to me simply so I can communicate it. I mean, I'm a simple guy.
Right.
So Rachel, tell us about you. Your family actually was Brisbane florist, is that right?
Yeah.
In Benton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people may remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us about you. You came here as a little skinny girl, preteen.
I would like to say I'm still skinny.
Yeah. And still a girl. But many years ago on Wednesdays, I would come over to the youth department, which is now the TNT complex, and I would speak. And you often were there with some other little girls. And they were also little skinny girls, probably still are. And then you how did you end up not staying here since you were 12? Did family migrate somewhere?
No, I just left to be a sinner during college. And then when we decided we were going to get married, we're like, okay, probably ought to put the Lord first, and if we want our marriage to work. And so when we got engaged, we decided to come back to my church home. And this ministry, even though I had backslid a little bit during those college years, had really shaped who I was.
What was your profession as a result of going to college?
So I was a first grade teacher.
First grade teacher, yeah. And I had really hoped you'd teach at Arkansas Christian Academy, but God had a different plan. What was that plan? We got a minute and a half. What was that plan? You guys came to here. How long was it when you came here before you found out about Second Chance Youth Ranch?
Well, I had remembered you talking about it when I was in youth group, but it was an idea then and you know, something that hadn't...
Yeah, that's when it was easy.
Right, yeah. And you were talking about the ranch, you know, during a service, and I was happy in my career. I loved teaching. Billy was happy where he was at, and it's just this idea got in our hearts hearing you talk about the need. And so we thought, well, maybe we'll volunteer or give a little donation, something like that. And then we ended up there were 2 foster homes at the time, and we decided to take them out to Pizza Hut and treat them to lunch. And we were goners after that. And we met those kids, we're ready to be all in.
And so how long were you married when y'all took a position at Second Chance Youth Ranch as foster parents?
We were 2 or 3 months in marriage before we applied, and then 6 months for our hire date.
So you were 6 months married.
Right.
And we were gracious enough, only got 30 seconds, but we were gracious enough to give you a foster home. And since you were experienced a married couple, we gave you 7 teenage girls to foster.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
No hair.
Yeah. So this next segment, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the problems in foster care, how people can be involved, and how Second Chance Ranch is bringing solutions to the foster care crisis in the state of Arkansas, as we now have about 85 young people in our care. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about Arkansas Christian Academy. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Our name is Arkansas Christian Academy, but most of us just say ACA around here. Our mascot is this guy. Go Knights! Founded in 2001, ACA has grown from only a few classes to having classes in pre-K all the way through 12th grade. As far as class sizes go, we were smaller on average across the board, and we use this to challenge our students academically and individually on a personal level, learning through the lens of God's Word in every subject and growing a personal relationship with Him through our amazing staff and in our daily chapel classes. For a full breakdown, check out our website at archristian.org, and feel free to explore other aspects of our school while you're there. Now, let's go outside. Our still growing campus sits right off I-30 and is protected by gates and doors with magnetic locks, only accessible by faculty and staff. We also have these guys here every day. But seriously though, safety is a priority here at ACA, as we want to ensure not only a quality education, but an environment where learning can flourish without fear or other outside distractions. Now, let's move on to the fun stuff. Here's a shot of our football field, a playground, some kids, another playground, our main gym, a football field again, and this is our brand new middle school. What else?
What about extracurricular activities?
That's right, here at ACA, we offer all different kinds of sports, but that's just the beginning. We have a broadcasting class, spoiler alert, it's really cool, a music and worship program, theater, and a thriving art program complete with a very active yearbook committee.
Wow.
There you have it. Schedule a tour today and find out what all the buzz is about at Arkansas Christian Academy.
Well, my goodness, since our last segment, Billy has really changed. Tell us a little bit about who you're with now, Rachel.
So this is Liz, good friend, excellent foster mom. She and her husband have been foster parents for 6 years.
6 years.
And she's our foster care coordinator. So anytime somebody wants to become a foster parent, Liz becomes their best friend and walks them through the process.
So some years ago when DCFS and nationally DHS changed a lot of what was happening in foster care and down at the DHS department, what they did, they started turning over and training us to become what?
So we are what's called a placement agency. That means that we're contracted with the state of Arkansas to open foster homes on their behalf. Now, many of you at Family Church are familiar with our original campus, which is the old Western town and the homes that we build for large sibling groups. And that's a huge part of what we do. But we also open and individually license people in their own homes who want to foster under a faith-based organization instead of directly through the state of Arkansas.
So Liz, when they contact us, what is the step? Because so many times in years past, when my mother was a foster parent, they gave us kids and we saw the case worker once in a while. Yeah. And she was kind of on her own. You know, at one time we had 19 kids in the house. That's why my dad drank so much. But so how are we bringing solutions to foster care in Arkansas?
Yes. Well, the most important thing to us is that a family that wants to open up their home be a part of a church, and whether it's Family Church or a church in the community, because we don't want to lose the opportunity for a child that's in our home to not be introduced to the love of Christ. So that's our number one priority. After that, you do things like you would for a job. You would fill out background checks. You would do interviews. We would look at your home because the state has requirements of how the home should look and safety things in place. We train you. So we have our own trainers. We do a home study process, which we have home study practitioners. So we take care of everything from beginning to end until you are ready to receive a child in your home.
And then whenever you're ready to receive children, we just give you a bunch of kids and leave you on your own?
Yes, we figure it out. Don't call us. No, not at all. No, we also have case managers, and we call them the ants because we only have lady case managers, and that's really what they do. They kind of come in and things that you may need help with, like you may be having trouble contacting the caseworker. They can aid in communication. The child is sick, and our case managers go above and beyond. We have had parents say, I'm sick, and they show up at their door with soup. Sometimes our foster parents just need someone to pray for them because it's been a hard day, and the case managers go and pray for them. So it's just someone that steps in to make sure you don't feel alone in this journey.
So currently we have 4 houses in Bryant,
Yes.
actually on this campus. We have how many houses in Benton campus homes? 2. That's on Smithers. Then we have, what else? 4 at the ranch.
4 at the ranch.
Along with the rec center, swimming pool, and all that kind of stuff. Just so happens they're doing some logging out there, right there at the ranch. That could become a pasture because I know y'all don't have enough to do. We need to get you some animals out there. It's a ranch, you know. And also on my desk, I have a plan for a 6-bedroom house. Someone gave us a lot in Benton about 3 months ago. And hopefully by spring, we will be building a new house in Benton. So with all that being said, how many children do we currently have in care through Second Chance Youth Ranch?
Well, so in addition to what you just said, we also have about 22 community homes where people are fostering in their own home through us. And altogether, we have about 82 children at the moment.
All right, does a community home, give the Lord a hand, somebody. So a community home where someone brings in a child or 2. The thing that we do so successfully with our campus homes is sibling groups. For instance, Super Bowl Sunday night, we get a call, 3 little boys have no place to go. They're on a bench downtown, and our clinical director and foster dad, Chad Strike, and his wife Joanne, and their family took those boys in just for a few nights, and now they've been placed with a
family member.
A family member, which is always our goal.
Right.
So what's the biggest issue right now in foster care in Arkansas? About how many kids are involved in care?
3,427 kids in foster care right now in the state of Arkansas. And there are just under 1,400 open foster homes. So there's a big discrepancy there.
But if every church, regardless of size, would just get one family that they would surround, and that family would foster one child, could we resolve the foster care crisis in 2025?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So what about the people, though, said, yeah, but I just can't foster, I would just get too attached.
Listen here. That's what these kids deserve, is someone who's going to get too attached.
Yeah, they deserve a family. Yeah.
Yes, foster care is temporary. And yes, foster care does involve goodbyes. I hope you cry when a child leaves your home.
Absolutely.
I hope it hurts your heart and that you're going to miss them, because every child deserves to be loved that way.
Yeah. When I was a little boy, 7 years old, we got 4 boys from Boonville. They were about the same, 3 of them were same age as my brother Pat, my brother Paul, and myself. And shortly thereafter, on November 16th, I was born on the 13th, my birthday, I was 7. On the 13th of November, on the 16th, we got a little girl, an infant named Tina Marie. Mama made a deal with my sisters. Listen, we will bring children in, we'll bring infants in, but you've got to be willing to love them and let them go.
Yeah.
Well, when Tina got adopted, my sister Paula wept. And I remember my mother telling her, Paula Jean, you dry your eyes. If we cannot do this without crying, we've got to let the children go and let them grow. And as a result, hundreds came through our home. And that's what fostering's all about. Yes, it's going to hurt your heart, but you've got to think big picture. These children deserve a loving family. And if we can't get them back to their birth family, we want to get them into a adoptive family. And in this next video here in just a minute, we are so blessed to have friendship with Project Zero, who is
Christy Irwin is their director.
Irwin, and her team put together these phenomenal videos. DHS won't let us take advantage or exploit children, but working with Christy and Project Zero, they've been able to produce beautiful videos that if you can watch this video and not need a Kleenex, you need prayer. So we're going to take a brief break, watch a child in waiting, praying for a forever family, and we'll be right back.
If there was a family watching this that was thinking about adopting you, what would you want them to know about you?
I have 2 loving brothers.
I would say that I would want to be together forever. My name is Trez. I'm 10 years old.
My name is Mariah, and I'm 5 years old. Tavy, he's 4.
I like to play with her, play football, basketball, and play video games.
I like to play with my brother on rainy days. My favorite thing to learn about is math and science.
My favorite thing to learn about is science.
Would you like to live all 3 together? Can you tell me why?
Because every time we don't get to see Tavy, we miss him and we want to see him. I think a good family is where they love you and not be mean and have a good house and be safe.
Like traveling together and then having family traditions together.
I want a nice mom and dad and a good family to adopt me.
If y'all could have a superpower, what would you want your superpower to be?
If I had a superpower, I would want to know the truth. Like, when somebody tells a lie, it tells me the real truth.
If I had $1 million, I would give it to poor people.
And if you could only eat one food every day for the rest of your life, what food would you pick?
Biscotti.
Tacos.
What about little brother? What would he want?
Bananas. I had one wish. I would have powers and help people.
If I had one wish, it would be for all 3 of us to live together. I want to be adopted so bad because so we're together forever.
And I hope you have a great day the rest of your day.
Whoa, the stage has grown. Well, I say, coming back from that segment every week, if you can watch that and not have your heart touched, you are touched. Because those kids are just crying out for what so many of us take for granted, and that is someone who will love us and make room in their heart for us. Jesus had much to say about children. You know, Jesus was pretty popular at times, and crowds followed him. And at one time, there were so many people following him, then the children were crying out. And the disciples said, hey, y'all need to hush the kids. Y'all need to get the kids calmed down. Jesus ain't got time for this. And Jesus stopped them, and he said, allow the children to come. This is what Jesus says about children, Matthew 18. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if he had a millstone hung around his neck and were drowned in the sea. Man, that's pretty serious right there. And that's the heartbeat of God. Now, there is a verse that we use, faithful to the fatherless. And what is that verse from the book of James?
Oh, from James 1:27.
Well,
sorry.
It's called a microphone.
James 1:27. True religion, undefiled before God, is to care for orphans and widows in their distress.
Yeah. And that's what this ministry is all about. From the time we started Destined to Win Ministries, it has always been putting a priority on children, teenagers, hurting kids. And as I spoke in schools all over the nation, oftentimes counselors would call me into their office to either speak with a student who was broken and hurting, or asking me what are the resources for kids that are broken and hurting. And I am sure in our audience and in our viewing audience, there are literally hundreds of people who, if they told you their story, like many on this stage, they would tell you of the abuse, the neglect, the hurt, and the hope they found in Jesus Christ, which is what Liz talked about. We are a faith-based organization. From the very beginning, when we met with the state, I asked them, because people say, well, can you be a Christian organization and work with the state? And the answer is absolutely, that's who we are. Now, people say, well, you don't take any funding from the state, do you? I say, oh, absolutely, yeah. And they say, well, why? I say, well, if a couple gets divorced, then somebody pays child support. So children in foster care are wards of the state, and so we allow the state to pay child support. And that helps us expand and provide the care and the resources that our children need. Now, when a child shows up at the ranch, do they show up with nice clothes, luggage, some really nice stylish things?
Usually hardly anything at all, maybe a trash bag with a few belongings or clothes that don't fit.
And when they leave the ranch, do they leave with a trash bag?
Absolutely not. They leave with bags and luggage and we load them up. By the time they leave, they've got everything they need.
You know, we had a young man named John many years ago, and he had some very serious anger issues. And after he would express his anger violently, then he would calm down and feel remorseful. And I met with him on several occasions, and finally we just said, John, we can't get going this way. You're going to hurt someone, you're going to hurt yourself, or somebody's going to kill somebody if you don't straighten out your life. And I felt broken that we weren't able to keep him. But some years later, John contacted us and told us the best place he ever lived as a young person was Second Chance Youth Ranch. So you never know the impact your life is making. Now, on the stage right now, we have all these foster parents, and this is not all of our foster parents. But in the back, we have Tyler. Tyler, will you wave your hand so everybody can see you there? Tyler was actually one of our foster young men when you were, 14? Yeah, 14. About 14. And now he's one of our foster dads with his wife and foster mom. Isn't that cool? Yeah, and my goal from the very beginning, if we could help our young people come together, really get hope and get healthy, that they would, just like Tyler, come back. And Tyler and his wife, tell us your name.
I'm Ali.
And you guys are on the list for Foster Parents of the Year for our area. That's pretty cool. Personally, I think all of you qualify. Yes. Right here on this campus, we have 4 foster homes. And We call it the Puerto Rican complex. And all you guys are sort of kind of related, right? It's Liz and your dad and mom, and then your sister or sister-in-law, the Sanchez's, and they're all right here on this campus, on this 25 acres here. Then we got the 300 acres out at the ranch, and then our other properties in town, and all of our community homes. So, Liz, tell us a little bit about some of these folks up here. I see Zach back here and Chelsea. Zach, you were in foster care, is that right? And now he's a foster dad and does a tremendous job. Look at you guys. I can't tell you enough how much I love and appreciate what you do. Pastor Caldwell asked me years ago, right after we broke ground on the ranch, and I remember I was standing right down here, and he said, "Perry, are you excited about the ranch?" I said, "No, sir, not anymore." And he said, "You're not?" And I said, "No." I said, "Pastor, the dream's the easy part. Now it's the work." And but the work is what y'all do, like Chad on Super Bowl night, bringing 3 kids into his home at the very last minute so they didn't have to spend the night on a bench downtown, and couples that are just giving of your lives. It just blows me away. Now, how can people, Liz, get involved at Second Chance Youth Ranch? Can churches, businesses, organizations, or individuals get involved, and if so, how?
Yes, I know we have several business owners here. If we can come to your business and talk to your employees about what we do to see if people get fired up about it. Other churches can invite us to speak and share the vision of what we're doing.
Y'all come in on a Sunday morning, Wednesday night, or a Sunday school
any
group?
day of the week. Yes, yeah, we would love to speak to anyone that has us. We'll speak to them.
Yeah, we don't care what the situation is. We want to present the solutions to foster care in Arkansas. So there's a lot of opportunities to do that. If anybody's watching or anybody that's present wants to be involved in foster care, all they have to do is contact us at 2CYR.org. It just happened right here in front of the whole audience, right here on the screen. And they can contact us, contact you,
Yes,
Taylor,
email,
any number of people. They can even talk to Rachel if they want to.
They can even talk to Rachel. We'll find her.
And then Billy has this great maintenance crew. These guys were out there just a few days ago freshening up buildings, and we got maintenance guys, and our foster dads do such an awesome job. We can't tell you how much we appreciate all that God is doing in foster care in Arkansas, and what a privilege it is for us to be a part. Thanks for watching the show. We'll be back next week right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV and destined to win. God bless you.